Welcome to Tefo His Touri channel. My name is Catharina Magrietha Kruger and I will be telling you the story behind the history of how elephant got its long nose. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's start historing around. And you know what? If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Now, before I tell you the story of where elephant got his long nose, I first have to get all the jokes out of the way. So joke number one. How do you stop elephant from smelling? Tie a knot in his trunk. I must tell, that's not really very funny. But the next one, really, I promise you it's going to be funny. So joke number two. What do you call an elephant in a phone booth? Stuck. I told you it's going to be very funny. Now let's get to some elephant facts. You get 3 different kinds of elephants. The African savanna elephant, the forest African elephant, and then also the Asian elephant. Now the African elephants do have larger ears than their cousins in India. They say the ear is shaped of an African elephant like the shape of the African continent, where they say the Asian elephant's ear looked like the shape of India. I don't know, but anyhow, use your imagination. Also, another difference between the African elephant and the Asian elephant are the tips of their trunks. The African elephant has got 2 finger-like growths on his trunk, where the Asian elephant only have 1 finger at the tip of his trunk. Weird. Elephants use their trunk as an elongated arm, reaching up high in the trees, picking the branches and pulling it down so that they can eat it. They can even take those 2 fingers or the 1 finger at the tip of the trunk, pulling off the leaves, as well as picking up grass from the ground, shaking it with it. So it is like a hand or fingers and an elongated arm. They will also greet each other, the elephants, when 2 groups haven't seen each other and they get together. You would a lot of times see there is a twisting and twirling around of their trunks, like this. That is nearly like a handshake. An elephant's trunk is very strong. There is about 150,000 muscle bundles in the trunk. He used the trunk to push down trees, to get to the lovely roots of the trees, to actually eat it. Elephants use their trunk to smell. There are millions of cell receptors in the trunk, and it is said that an elephant can even smell better than a bloodhound. It can smell water kilometers far away. They can even smell water underneath the sand of a dry riverbed. At times they were seen digging in a dry riverbed, and then suddenly water would appear. So they smelled the water underneath the dry sand. The elephant's trunk is also like a straw. It can suck up water, 8 liters of water, hold it in the trunk, and or he uses it as a spray, or let's say as a shower to cool himself off, or he used the water to drink it. If a body of water is so deep that the elephant's mouth will not stick out of the water, elephant can go into the water and use his trunk as a snorkel. Can you imagine that? Nearly like a submarine. He can maneuver under the water and swim through a body of water and still be able to breathe with his snorkel. Now let's get to the elephant's ears. Well, they use it to hear. Secondly, they use it as a cooling mechanism or huge cooling fans. For you see, elephants can't really sweat like human beings. So therefore they take their big ears and they flop it and open it up in the wind, acting as these big fans on probably a body that was sprayed with water. You can just imagine that would cool them off very quickly. Asian elephants' ears are smaller than their cousins here in Africa, for they live more in a shady area where the African elephant needs bigger fans to cool him down in the African sun. The African elephant ears are big with a very thin skin, and in the ears a lot of veins are running. So by flipping and flopping the ears to the front and back, it cools down the blood in the veins. And when this cooler blood would recirculate in the elephant's body, it will cool the elephant. How cool is that? Sorry for being punny.
Encore!
Just be aware, the elephant would also flop his ears to the front and back when they are ready to charge and are aggressive. So difficult to see if the elephant is just hot or angry. Elephants do have huge hearts. If you take their heart, it's about 0.5% of his whole body weight would be his heart. So say for instance an elephant weighs 4,500 kilograms, the heart would be 27 kilograms. That's a lot. Elephant tusks is actually large incisor teeth that would appear round about when an elephant is 2 years old. African male and female elephants do have tusks, where in Asia only the male elephants do have tusks. Now their tusks would grow throughout their whole life, getting longer. It is also said that elephants' tusks are all right-handed tusks or left-handed tusks, just like human beings, left-handed or right-handed. For if you look at an elephant, the tusk that is a little bit shorter than the other, that would tell you if an elephant is left or right tusked, because he uses the tusk a little bit more that would be shorter and it'd be worn down. So they say that there are more right-tusked elephants than left-tusked elephants. Elephants' tusks are used for feeding. They break off the bark or scrape off the bark of trees, and they also use it as a digging tool to dig out roots of trees. Then they also use their tusks to defend themselves during a fight. As you know, the elephant's tusks are made of ivory, and that is the big reason why elephants are being shot and killed for their ivory. Human beings. Now, interesting enough, because the old tuskers and the big tuskers are being shot out, elephants cannot pass over the big tusker genes to the newer generations. And therefore, studies show that the tusks of elephants are getting shorter and shorter. They are busy evolving. And why do we want to kill them then? For what? If it's not for the tusks. Stop killing elephants. But if you still want to see some of the old big tuskers that died naturally in the Kruger National Park, go to Letaba Museum, Elephant Museum, and there you would see some of the big tuskers that lived in Kruger National Park. An elephant's skin is 2.5 centimeters thick, nearly on all parts of his body. And then, with all the wrinkles and folds, it keeps moisture or retains moisture 10 times more than a flat skin, and that keeps the elephant cooler. How cool is that? Elephants create their own sunscreen. For you see, when they take a mud bath, they throw mud all over their body. That keeps the body cool and protects it against the sun. And when it dries and falls off, the mud would take with it all the bugs that is bugging the elephant. So it's nearly like a repellent as well, this mud that the elephant would throw on his body. Furthermore, what color is the skin of an elephant? Well, usually if you look at animation stories, it is gray. But here in Africa, sometimes they are reddish brown in skin color, or gray, or just brown. It all depends on the soil color where this elephant lives. For the mud would color the skin, or would be still on the skin when you see an elephant. Elephants can hear through their feet. What? Yes. They have sensors in their feet that can pick up vibrations about 30 kilometers away. Vibrations that the human ear can't hear. So we say they hear through their feet. Elephants actually walk on high heels or on their toes. Strange. They've got sort of a fatty heel. That is why you can't hear an elephant walking in the bush. Now, African elephants' front feet are round like a soccer ball, and their back feet is oval shaped like a rugby ball. So you know exactly, if you look at the footprints of an elephant, in which direction he or she went. Elephants' legs are more straight than any other animal. For being more straight, it helps them carry their heavy weight, and it supports their body. Elephants are also built for walking long distances, especially their feet. Study shows that elephants that lives in zoos do develop arthritis in their feet and foot problems because they do not walk a lot. Elephants eat constantly. They eat around about 150 kilograms of food per day. If you take 375 tins of baked beans, that would be about the amount that an elephant would eat per day. But you know what? Half of the food exits the elephant's body undigested. Elephants eat so much that they can spend 3/4 of a day eating. Now, so much eating causes a lot of pooping. Yes, pooping. One elephant can poop 1 ton of poop per week. All this poop creates a wonderful fertilization for the soil, as well as dispensing of tree seeds. Now, while talking about elephants helping to plant seeds and dispense the seeds, let's talk about the relationship between a marula tree and that of an elephant. You see, elephants love marula fruit. They love pushing the trees over to get to the juicy roots, but they also help to grow the new marula trees from seeds. They fertilize the soil, as well as studies show that seeds of a marula tree that went through the digestive system of the elephant germinates much better than seeds that has not gone through the whole digestive system of the elephant. So, by pooping a lot or eating a lot of marula seeds, pooping a lot, they plant the seed and voila, they grow new marula trees. Now let's get the next fact or story out of the way. Do elephants get drunk from eating marula fruit? You see, mango and marula are of the same fruit family. And just like mangoes, if the fruit of a marula would ferment, it contains a lot of alcohol. So it is believed that the elephant would get drunk by eating a lot of marula fruit. Is that a fact? Well, you see, the story goes that the fruit that falls from the trees and lie in the sun, if the animals eat it, they would get drunk from it. The story was so famous of elephants getting drunk from the marula fruit that it inspired a liquor company called Marula liqueur. Now, Marula cream or other Marula liqueur are made from the marula fruit, and it tastes more or less like Baileys. They even call the Marula tree the Marula tree because this elephant would apparently get drunk of the marula fruit. Even the emblem or the little label on the Marula cream liqueur is an elephant picking fruit from the marula tree. You see, this story can't be true, for the elephant hardly ever eats the marula fruit that's lying in the sun on the ground. It usually picks the fresh fruit from the tree. And if they got drunk from this marula fruit that was lying on the ground, they really have to eat a whole lot of the marula fruit before this big body can actually get drunk. It would take 27 liters of alcohol just to get an elephant sort of tipsy. So no, that is a myth that an elephant can get drunk on marula fruit or fermented marula fruit. In 1974, a documentary filmmaker by the name of Jamie Oase decided to make a film of animals getting drunk by eating the marula fruit. The film was called Animals Are Beautiful People. Well, this was such a hit, and that is one of the reasons why millions of people even today believe that elephants do get drunk from eating the marula fruit. Well, this was such a success, this film, that it even received a Golden Globe award for Best Documentary. Now, here is a little bit of false information about elephants. Elephants are not afraid of mice, as they are always drawn in picture books, being afraid of a mouse and standing in a corner. That's not true. But they are very afraid of bees. Even in Africa, some farmers had put a lot of beehives surrounding their fields, protecting the fields so that the elephants won't get into the fields and destroy all their crops. Put the beehives there because elephants are afraid of bees. The other false fact about an elephant is elephants do eat peanuts. Huh? No way. Peanuts in the African bushes or somewhere in India? No. Elephants don't like peanuts. Zoos don't feed elephants peanuts. So no, that is false. Elephants are very clever. They've got the biggest brain of all land animals and are nearly 4 times bigger than the brain of a human being. Another thing is, although female elephants are smaller than male elephants and their brain are smaller than the male elephants, they are equally clever or even more clever than their male counterparts. For the female is the matriarch of the group of elephants, and she's got a map in her brain knowing exactly where to find food and water each year. And she would go on that same route each year and teach the younger females where to go to find food and water. Clever. Elephants are in a troubled position. They don't have any other really big predators or things that kill them, except human beings. We kill them as a sport. We kill them for their ivory tusks. And then a lot of tourist attractions do have them so that the tourists can ride the elephant, or they even take videos where an elephant will take a brush and paint a picture on a canvas. This is not normal for an elephant. Leave elephants alone in the bush and please don't ride them. Now let's get to the story of how elephant got its long nose, or his trunk. Well, many moons ago, when Africa was still young, elephant was created with a small or a flat snout, just like a pig, a very short kind of nose. This didn't bother elephant at all. He really thought it was quite a cute nose that he had. But elephant had one big problem. Elephant's got to eat a lot to keep his big body nourished and full. So each time that he wanted to eat a little bit of grass, or say for instance get to the roots of plants, he had to go down on all four his knees to reach these plants. So one day he went down to the water hole, and once again he had to bend down on all four his knees to drink a little bit of water. So while elephant was drinking water, crocodile swam past elephant that was drinking water. And elephant saw him, but he didn't pay any attention to him. But crocodile was hungry and he didn't eat for days. And he thought by himself, if I can just grab elephant on his nose and pull his nose off and eat the nose, I will be probably full. So he swam closer and then went underneath the water, and like a spring he coiled out of the water and grabbed elephant on his small little nose, and he pulled and elephant pulled to his side backwards and backwards, and this small nose of elephant got in between the elephant and the crocodile, and it stretched and it stretched and it stretched. So elephant dug his heels in the sandbank at the river, and he pulled back, and he's very strong, and he pulled, and so they fought for hours and hours until both of them got a little bit tired. But crocodile couldn't hold on to his end of elephant's nose, so he had to let it go, and he swam away. Oh! And there went elephant into the bush with his very long nose hitting his knees, and he felt so ashamed that he hid in the bushes. He was afraid that the other animals would laugh at him. So slowly but surely elephant got hungry, and then he got out of the bush, and then he suddenly realized, my goodness gracious, this long snout of mine, or my trunk, could reach high up in the trees and pull the branches down, and it's really a handy tool. All the other elephants actually saw this elephant now with this long nose, and they got jealous. So they decided, my goodness gracious, this is quite a handy tool. We all want a long snout like you have. So one by one they went down to the river, and they tormented the crocodile, and then the crocodile would launch out of the water, grab the short snouts of all the elephants and pull them towards the water, and then the elephant will pull back, and that way the snout got longer and longer. So up to today, all elephants have a long snout, or the trunk, and crocodiles learned their lesson not even to bother when elephant go down to the river to drink. They would keep on lying in the sun and bathing in the sun and just roll their eyes when they see elephant. Now, history lovers, this was the story behind the history of where elephant got its long nose. Join me next time for another human story, a his story, a her story, or more elephant or animal stories. Oh, remember, and please hit subscribe, like, and share. And see you next time. Happy histouring around!